So, good afternoon to all of you students. Today, I'm going to discuss with you about the ISO 14000. It is a set of primary rules related with the environmental pollution control, and we will discuss them in a step-by-step manner. Now, this ISO 14000 is specially given as separate topic to the BMLT students. So BMLT students carefully follow this lecture, and the rest of the batches of biotechnology or from the BBA or from the BCA, uh, also from the BHM, they will also follow these notes that I'm going to provide to you and discuss with you today, that I am going to discuss with you today. Just follow them. Now, they are not much of importance. You should go through this notes overview, but for the BMLT students, as separately ISO 14000 has been written in your syllabus, so you should descriptive in a described manner you should follow this lecture. Okay, so let's get started now. So we are doing actually about the water pollution, air pollution. We have already finished those, and today I am going to discuss with you about an important topic, that is your ISO 14000. Now, what do you mean by ISO? Well, ISO full form is International Standard Organization. Okay, they set up some level of environmental standards. Now, basically, I think you know what do you mean by standard. Standard are the set of quality which should be maintained in order to reduce the pollution in water, in air, in soil. Okay, in many ways. So normally, for setting up some standards to the companies, to the different commercialization purpose, in different ways, some rules has been made in order to improve the quality of the environment. Okay, and to use the resource in a sustainable way, so that our future generation can get the same benefit as we are getting it now, and at the same time we are reducing the pollutants in the natural sources. So ISO 14000, it is a set of standards. Okay, ISO 14000, it is a set of standards that is created to help the companies around the world to reduce their adverse impact on the environment. So in simple way, ISO 14000 are is actually a set of principles. Okay, some principles, some what can I say, some important things has been discussed, and they are actually normally created to help the companies around the world to reduce their negative effect. Adverse impact means opposite, impact means effect, to so that our negative effect on the our negative effect on the companies will not too much affect the environment. Okay, so again I'm repeating, ISO 14000 is a set of standards that are created in order to help the companies around the world to reduce their adverse impact on the environment. It simply means that so that the companies which are being formed, the project which is being done, okay, for in order to make profit, and as the same way, at the same manner, for development, for improvement the quality of the lives of the people. At the same time, this ISO 14000, they set up some environmental standard to check the quality. Okay, so normally environmental standard can be stated as they are administrative regulations or some laws, some civil laws, some rules that are being implemented okay, for the treatment and maintenance of the environment. So the standards which are being mentioned in the ISO 14000, these standards are based on environmental standards, and they can be stated as, environmental standards can be stated as, they are administrative regulations or some civil laws or rules that are implemented. That means that has to be put into effect. It not just we go through the just for documentation purpose. We have to put that law into effect for treatment and maintenance of the environment. Then it is saying in the next line that so by setting up the standards, we can make the companies, whatever company is being forming, is being set up in the environment, they will by using that standards, the company will work on that standards. At the same time, they will what was their goal, they will also achieve their goal, and they will in this way we can able to reduce the negative impact or negative effect on the environment, right? It's not like that a company will make loss in order to protect the environment. Both at the time the companies will achieve their goal, and at the same time they will, by the help of that standards as stated in the ISO 14000, they will work on it, and they will try to minimize the pollutant to be released to the environment. Okay. Then it is saying it is a framework for improved and more environmentally conscious quality management system by organization large or small. Again, I repeat, it is a framework for improved and more environmentally conscious quality management system by organization large and small. So it is just a framework. You know what do you mean by framework? Framework means the base, it is the basic structure. This ISO 14000 is the basic structure through which set of rules, a system of rules or ideas has been implemented so that we can improve the quality of our air, water, land, soil, and at the same time we will also make that organization to achieve their goal, whether it is large or small. Now for this we have to work together. Okay, for this we have to work together, and we will overcome the problems that will being faced while setting up that project or company, or small companies or large scale companies, they will work on it. I think you have understood the second line. It is a framework for improved and more environmentally conscious quality management system. So by this ISO 14000, this actually being set up for, it is a framework, it is the main part, it is the main basic structure to control the environment, and at the same time we will environmentally we will conscious the quality management system. Okay, conscious means in Bengali it is saying sachetan, in Hindi you can say sachet. That means we will make up the company, we will set up the company, just like EIA, environmental impact assessment, I have said na, that they go through these things. Okay, but here here ISO 14000 is a set of rules that has to be followed. uh, at the same time you will achieve your goal. What is your goal or demand to set up that company, also to set up that organization, whether it is large or small. And on the other hand we will also for look on environmental problems also, and we use alternatives. We will try to reduce or minimize the effects of if harm occurs to the environment by setting up that organization, by setting up that industries, companies, etc. Then it is saying ISO 14000 is a set of international standards covering environmental management system, environmental auditing, environmental labeling, and assessment of environmental performance and life cycle evaluation. So normally ISO 14000 is based on these things. What are those things? ISO 14000 is based on this topic. That means ISO 14000 covers up the EMS, that is environmental management system. Well, I will discuss about the environmental management system here uh, with respect to the ISO 14000. Then environmental auditing. Well, environmental auditing, what can I say in easy word? Environmental auditing is an attempt to provide information on the environmental performance of a company. Again, I repeat, environmental auditing. Okay, environmental auditing. Environmental auditing is an attempt to provide information on the environmental performance of a company and thus induce environmental issues in the decision making process. So normally environmental auditing, I have said, I'm repeatedly saying so that you can able to remember, memorize them, recite them. Environmental auditing is an attempt to provide information on the environmental performance of a company. That means with respect to the company, how it is well affecting to the environment or how much, and thus induce environmental issue in the decision making process. On the other hand, you can say environmental auditing as it is essentially an environmental management tool. Okay, it is an environmental management tool for measuring the effects of certain activities on the environment against set criteria or standards. Again, I repeat, environmental auditing can also be stated as it is essentially an environmental management tool. Okay, it is a tool for measuring for measuring the effects of certain activities on the environment against the set criteria or standards. So what are the standards laid by the ISO 14000 based on which we will measure them, we will evaluate them, we will collect the data information, and then we will try to evaluate that result, and that's what is called environmental auditing. So normally an environmental auditing assess the nature and extent and to what extent it is causing harm to the environment caused by the activities, caused by the waste that are generated from the company, or noise also from a particular company. Again, I repeat, an environmental audit, it will assess the nature, it will also assess the nature, and it will evaluate to what extent it is harming to the environment by that company, and by the different activities, like how it is affecting the environment to the by the company by generating activities, some activities like waste generation or noise from a particular company. Now, if I say in a simple way that what is the main process of environmental auditing, I am discussing more about this, because ISO 14000 is the main pillar of the ISO 14000 is this EMS, environmental management system, and environmental auditing. Although there is also other topics covered by this ISO 14000, that is environmental labeling, assessment of the environmental performance, and life cycle evaluation, but these are not to that mark described, okay, by ISO 14000. They are described, maintained, but more they are focusing on EMS and environmental auditing. Now the main steps of the environmental monitoring, I am going to write it down in this screen. Just follow what I am saying. So for the environmental auditing, the first thing that they do is planning. The first thing that they do is planning. they plan that how we will able to we will able to check that how much harm it is causing to the environment by setting up our criteria or standard. Then we, in the next step, we choose auditing team. we choose we choose auditing team. Auditing team. By choosing auditing team, it has to be seen that it should not be actually that auditing team should be neutral. It should not go against or for the company. It should be neutral, fully neutral. It will just collect the data and will provide that information. After this step, that is choosing auditing team, the next step of environmental auditing is inspecting the site and collection of data. Inspecting sites, that means the sites where we more environmental polluted sites done by the company, and whether they are going according to the standards or protocols set up by ISO 14000 or not. We will inspect the sites, or we will collect the data. We will collect the data, the information. Okay, so after inspecting the site, after or collection of the data, we will analyze that result of an audit. So the next step is analyzing the results of audit. Analyzing the results of audit. Analyzing the results of audit. Okay, and after analyzing the results of the audit, finally we will evaluate that audit. Evaluate that audit. Then we will discuss that to the company directly, that information we will provide to the company, that whether you are going according to the standards or criteria set up by the ISO 14000, or you are not following that criteria. Okay, and then again it comes under EIA, environmental impact assessment. Actually make some notice. If they not follow the rules, then strictly jurisdiction will interfere with this matter. So as I have said, that this ISO 14000 is based on, it covers all the topics related with the environmental management system. It also covers the environmental auditing, environmental labeling and assessment of the environmental performance and life cycle evaluation. Now, according to the World Economic Forum, it has been mentioned by the World Economic Forum, the five biggest environmental risk that will have largest impact in the next 10 years. In the next 10 years, there is a five greatest environmental risks that are going to be happen, and that is happening also. And what are those five deadliest environmental risks? Weapons of mass destruction. Countries, government, to make their supremacy, that and dominate the other countries, they are using weapons, different types of weapons. Now weapons are of many kinds. Like one type of weapon I wish to mention, those who are from biology background and those who are not from non-biology background, they can also for them it is a new topic called bio weapon. Well, bioweapon is not like gun or something like else. It is a type of using germs, using such type of infected microbes or other things that are being bombarded to the particular enemy countries, so that the people will die of some pandemic diseases. So this type of weapon is going to be made by some countries. I'm not mentioning the name, you already know the name. Okay, so weapons of mass destruction, different type of weapons, then the atomic bomb or the nuclear bomb that nowadays countries are eager to test. Okay, nuclear weapons or nuclear better to say nuclear weapons. They will not only affect the lives of the people in that area, but it will also affect the surrounding areas as well for the future generations also. Best example is, if you see the atomic bomb that has been bombarded at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Till now also they are seeking they are actually observing the radioactivity levels. They are finding the radioactive level is too much high in that area till now also. So it is causing a huge impact to the environment in the future also, not in the present also, but also in the future. So the future generations are also getting affected by these weapons of mass destruction. And that's the thing, that we have to protect the environment in many ways. Second is extreme weather events. Now extreme weather events like what can I say, tornadoes, tsunamis, okay, hurricanes, cyclones, that are unnecessary cyclones that are being formed. You can see them in the last 5 years. Some unnecessary cyclones have been affect to the our country also, and that's why winter rainfall is being occurring, which was not possible, okay, normally. So extreme weather events are huge, you can say, an impact to the environment, which will be occurring through the next year 10 years. Natural disasters will occur, like earthquakes, tsunamis, etc. Failure of climatic change, mitigation and adaptation. So climatic change, uh, climate change will occur, and extreme type of climate will occur. That means too hot or too cold, this type of climatic events can occur, and due to which we will try to mitigate, we will try to reduce the severity of the pollutants. It has to be done by every countries. Our aim will be, then at that time after 10 years, our aim will be not to eliminate the pollution, our aim will be to reduce the pollution. That means it will be not possible to clean up the environment, but it is possible to reduce the effects of the pollutants. And adaptation, according to it, we have to adapt, we have to adjust in that environment. Then water crisis. Water crisis is now becoming in all every parts of the world. Don't worry, India will also face water crisis after the water table will goes down. So it's our duty to save water. The drinking water is very few in our world, you know them, you have learned in your junior classes. So to stop wasting the water which is suitable for drinking, it's our main objective. So these are some of the things that we will face after 10 years. Okay, and for preventing this, to minimize these effects, we will set up some protocols, we set up some rules, some regulations. And that's why here ISO 14000 has come in that place. To it is especially for the companies, for the organizations large and small, to set up their goals. Okay, but at the same time you have to minimize the pollutant that are being released to the environment. So now I am going to say that what is what is ISO. And ISO, which stands for the International Organization for Standardization, is the body responsible for establishing and implementing. That means we are not only just making plan, but we are making that plan to put into effect various standards, by using various standards, environmental standards, across wide range of pro proprietary means the property owning, okay, the trade which is owning by a particular man or a particular company, particular shareholders, industrial and commercial applications. So normally ISO stands for International Organization for Standardization, or if I say in a breaking word, I means international, S for standardization, O for organization. It's better to write International Organization for Standardization. Now this ISO is the body responsible for establishing a plan, some standards related with the environmental protection, and implement those plans, implement those rules. That means to put that plan into effect, okay, in various standards across wide range of proprietary. Proprietary means relating to a owner or ownership of a particular company, that is marketed under and protected by a registered trade name. Okay, not only that, industrial and commercial applications also should follow this ISO standard. Okay, so I hope you have understood this part, what I have said, that ISO normally set up some standards related to the environment, and according to the standard, it not only make that plan, but they put that plan into effect also. But because without putting that plan into effect, forcefully, it will not, companies will not follow actually. So by the government authorities, they are making that plan into effect, and they set up various standards for various companies, large cottage industries or small scale industries or large industries, uh, companies, okay. And not only industrial and commercial applications, but also by the proprietary, that means an ownership of a particular group, like, what can I say, better to say ownership though. A best example is, I think you have eaten dulal palm candy, uh, in Bengali say দুলালের তাল মিছরি. The ownership of that particular company is, somehow the name, I think its title is, name is Dulal actually. So that is the proprietary actually, the ownership of that particular company actually. Okay, so ISO ISO also implement in that company also. Okay, small company or large scale company, both have to follow the ISO standards. Now depending on what type of company they are, what type of things they are, they will put that plan into effect. Different type of standards are being followed.